In the last video, we went over what a relation was. Now we're going to go over something really, really important known as a function. Okay? And a function is actually a specific type of relation. Okay? It's not the definition of a function, but I just want you to know that a function is a specific type of relation. And so here's the definition of a function. A function, okay, is a set of ordered pairs where. So here's where this is how it's specific from a relation is where each x, so each x value has only one y value. And by the way, we call the x values the input, and we call the y values the output. So in other words, for every input, we only have one output. So for each input, we only have one output. So let me just sort of give you an example of a relation. Oh, sorry, of a function. So say, for example, now let me just use my set notation again. So here's an example. So say, for example, I have this set where I have 1, 1, 2, 2, and then I have 3, 4. So if you observe, right over here, the ones that I mark in red, these are the inputs. This is an input, so is this, and so is this, right? The x's are the input, whereas the y's, let me use white. So the y's here, these ones, the y values, these are the outputs. So here's an output, here's an output, and here's an output. All right, let's graph this. Let's graph these 3 points and see what a function looks like. So let me get this. Here's my x, y, and let me just go back to yellow. So for example, 1, 1. Here's 1, 1, 1, 1. I have a point right there, and then I have, say, 2, 2. Right, that's this point here, 2, 2. And let's say I have 3, so here's 3, and let's say that's 4, so 3, 4 is right here. So this is my set of x's, and again, we call these the inputs, right? And here is my set of y's, and we're going to call these the outputs. And so let's see how this is a function. Well, for every input, so for example, if we take the 1, we only have one output, which is 1 as well. We don't have another output, over here. So for example, let's say, for example, if I drew in red some other point right here, then this would no longer be a function because the input 1, in this case, now has an output of 1, but it also has an output of 2 as well. Okay, so I'm just going to erase that. I'm just going to erase this. So this right here, and if you observe for the other points, for example, if we have taken input of 2, well, I also have an output of 2. I don't have any other outputs for the same input. Same goes with 3. So I see 3 over here. This is the input. The only output I see is 4. I don't see any other input either below 4 or above 4. So this is what, oops, maybe I shouldn't have used red. This is what we call a function, all right? Because for every input, we have only one output, okay? Let's sort of maybe get another set where I show you where we plot it, and we'll see that it is not a function, all right? So let me just go scroll down a bit, and there we go. So now what I have here, let me go a little bit more. So here we go. So here's example 2. So I'm going to use the same pairs, but I'm just going to add an additional one. So for example, in this set, I still have 1, 1, which was in the other one. But now I'm going to add, I'll put this in red. I'll put this 1, 2. Okay. So that's the new pair that I just added. And then I have 2, 2. And then I have 3, 4. All right. So the only difference from the old set that I had was the old set had three pairs, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3, 4, and this new pair, or sorry, this new set has one additional point, which is 1, 2. So let's see how this looks like. So again, let me go here. Oops, there we go, perfect. So here's that, and here's that, and then boom. Okay, so let's do this. So here's 1, 1. Okay, I'm going to plot this later. So there's that. I'm going to plot this one just a little bit. Just give me a second here. Let me just do this, the others. So it looks like the ones before 2, 2. So there we go there. And then 3, and then here's 4, and there we go. And now I'm going to plot this red one. Okay, so this red one. So now for this collection of points, this is not a function, because even though for number 3, we see it has only one input. Oh, sorry, for the input 3, we see we only have one output, which is 4. For the number 2, we see for the input 2, we see there's only one output, which is 2. But for the number 1, we see we have 2 outputs. We have 1 here, and we also have 2 here. So we have 2 outputs for the same input. And because, remember, the definition of a function, let's actually scroll back to the definition of a function. The definition of function is that where each x has only one y. So for each input, we have only one output. So if I go back to that diagram, I can see that for my input 1, I don't have only one. I have 2, in fact. I have an output of 1, and I also have an output of 2, and that's problematic. So therefore, this is not a function. Okay? All right, so hopefully that explains something about the difference between functions and relations, and how functions are just really a specific type of relation. In the next video, we're going to go over some rules of how to identify functions. I'll see you in the next video.